that is the
All
end of
right.
PlayStation news. Or PlayStation. That's the end of
And
Nintendo news.
Nintendo-
We're going to talk a little bit
the
in
start
PlayStation.
of PlayStation news.
Yes. So let's go ahead. They actually don't have too much, but the beginning of something we have been fearing. PS5 Digital Edition price has been increased in the UK, Europe, and Australia again.
I mean, so do you want to hear my conspiracy theory about this?
Okay, I'm all about it.
Wrap the tinfoil around my head. I think that they are preparing for tariffs or were preparing for tariffs. But because the USA is like by far PlayStation's biggest market, like it's like 60% of their user base, they were like, okay, we need to make up this difference somewhere else because we can't afford to raise price in America. So we're just going to do it in the rest of the world.
I mean, that may be the case. I don't know. Like that seems shitty, but I get it. And then, you know, when the tariffs do hit, like maybe that changes things to hit harder than they already are. Like, so yeah, this is going to be and that's for the digital edition. So
yeah, but they're also lowering the cost of the disk drive.
Oh, really?
Well, hold on. And then they're upping the cost of the disk drive version as well. But the disk drive itself looks like it is getting a €10 price cut. So that's all right, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this sucks.
I know this is not a great story, and I just don't think it's going to be the end of that talk.
No, I think that we are screwed. We have like very minimal improvements we can make design wise on consoles at this point, like in terms of like reducing cost. Like you can't shrink the wafer anymore,
right?
It's hard to make them less power hungry without increasing price, like straight up. You know, so I think that there's that. And I saw a comment and I saw a comment on what was it, Jeff Gerstmann show earlier this week regarding this.
Yeah,
I'm actually gonna pull that up because it was exactly 100% true of what the situation is. The short version is like they literally cannot make these cheaper at the moment without cutting something out in a big way. So they're just screwed. Yeah, here we go. Here it is. The hardware price situation might be unprecedented, but it was inevitable and will be true going forward. The reason why consoles historically got cheaper was because it was possible to significantly reduce cost. Now it's not. If you look back at chipset reductions from PS2 launch to PS2 9K, for example, they went from 250 nanometer to 65 nanometer over the course of its life. The chips were massively cheaper, and they more than halved the power draw in this process, so less heat to dissipate, meaning they can put it in a smaller housing, smaller and lighter packaging to make shipping cheaper. Not only that, they're making less progress in reducing these things today. The cost to manufacture the same chips is rising about 10% a year. This won't be specific to this generation. It's locked indefinitely, short of some chip manufacturing quantum leaps. It's one of the reasons why people bemoaning cross-generation titles aren't being reasonable. Publishers have no choice because first parties have no option to combat the cost of entry now. Which, I mean, it's true because I mean, when like the PlayStation 4 even only got like one big meaningful price cut. You know,
right?
Like went from 400 to 300, and then the Switch never got one.
Yeah,
the Switch did get the Switch Lite, but it never really got one. I think that we just might be in a world now where you're not going to see consoles price drop. You're
Yeah.
just going to see a new console roll around.
That seems to be where it's at.
Which, yeah, it sucks. And it sucks on the PC end too, by the way. Like, the PC end just, oh, it's a nightmare. It's even worse. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks real hard because, like, we have right now GPUs are at 4 nanometer process.
Mm-hmm.
They can cut down to 2, and then they're done. They don't really have anywhere else to go. So you make them bigger. You make bigger consoles and bigger GPUs to compensate, or you just have to realize we have plateaued, and we need to do until quantum computing becomes a mainstream thing, however many decades that may take. We are stuck right now. We're stuck. This is the graphic expectation. Now, we aren't entirely stuck on portables yet. Portables still have room to grow.
Yep.
But even then, the cost isn't going down.
Right.
Like it's just you don't have these big jumps anymore. You can't like be like, oh man, Switch 2 is now $1 bajillion cheaper to produce. We can sell it for $100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yep. So I don't know. I think just on the user end, if you're tired of these rising prices, then you gotta put your money where your mouth is and play some of these smaller titles, man.
Well, I was having a talk about like if the tariffs actually went through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a conversation I was having, and people are like, well, what system do you think people will buy if those tariffs actually happen? I'm like, then they'll stick with what they currently have.
Right.
Which whatever they have, which right now that if current indicators or anything, they have a lower mid-range PC, a PS5, or a Switch 1.
Mm-hmm.
That is what most of the audience is. Like one of those 3 places. Or a PS4 in some cases.
Yeah.
So it's like that's where the audiences are. Now PS4 is finally stopping getting games, and they finally stopped support of it in Japan as of this year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, they're like, yeah, it's gonna be, most people are going to be just stick with what they have. Like I believe 2028 is the speculated date of the next PlayStation. And I think that you're not gonna see them move over to that because people already aren't seeing the advantages of the Pro.
Right.
Unless you're like a Giga enthusiast, or you stare at this crap all day, like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're probably not gonna notice that big of a difference for a lot of people. It's a big part why, like, I always tell people, like, well, no, you're honestly, like, before you upgrade your graphics card, upgrade your monitor, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's the game plan right now, and it's true because, like, yeah, man, no, it's we have plateaued effectively for the time being. Consoles, I want to say, are on 8 nanometer, so consoles still have like one big jump in them left.
Okay.
They got like one left. They got a big one left, while still keeping boxes and price at a somewhat reasonable area.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be it. And I think that this is there's gonna be a lot more stuff when it comes to portability that starts to become important.
Yep.
There's so many rumors about the next gen Xbox is gonna be a hybrid like the Switch.
Right.
There's a bunch of stuff regarding PlayStation is working on a hybrid. And that's because hybrids still have places to go. Like, you can still do stuff to like make a good hybrid, and it's also cheaper to develop for the publisher, for the like third parties and people making games.
Yep.
It is a lot cheaper to make a game that runs on Switch 2 than it is to make a full-fledged game that makes the most of a 5080 or makes the most of even a PS5.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'd be nice if they went more in that direction. And things getting more expensive may help that, but for now, like, this is just it just sucks, and I don't think it's the end of it.
No, I definitely don't think it's the end of it. I think that Anthony and I were kind of talking about how we're excited for Steam Deck 2 whenever it rolls around. And Steam Deck is currently $400. We totally think Steam Deck 2 is going to be 500, 600.
Sure. Yeah.
Like that's a reality that we're kind of preparing for.
I don't think that's a bad bet at all. But yeah. So all right. We have a news story that I find really interesting.